To the crisis in Venezuela, the United States preparing to pull out the rest of its diplomatic personnel from its embassy in Caracas. And while the Maduro government is becoming more and more isolated, so are the Venezuelan people.
For 6 days now, much of the country has had no electricity. School and workplaces are suspended until at least Wednesday. One of the most devastating results of that power outage, no water. Yesterday, dozens of Venezuelans made their way to the Guairo River to try and fill containers with water, and that's on top of a long-time crisis that's seen shortages in basics like food and medicine. Well, journalist Juan Lamas is joining us now from Caracas. Juan, update us on the status of that power outage and the growing water crisis.
Well, 90% of the industrial and commercial sector in Venezuela is paralyzed due to the blackout. These, according to Venezuelan Commerce Chamber, Cámaras. Some economists from Ecoanalítica have claimed there is a $875 million loss in the oil industry and commercial services since the blackout took place. Intermittent power has been restored to some parts of Caracas, of Venezuela, including Caracas, but other places have been without electricity since last Thursday. One of them is Maracaibo City, the second biggest city in Venezuela, and where reports have shown how people have looted several stores, restaurants, and even malls. People there are desperate to find food and water to help them deal with the blackout. Power outage is nothing new for people who live outside the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, and where power rationing has become part of their daily routine. Here in the capital, we are going dry. People have not received a single drop of water since the blackout took place, and this is a city where nearly 6 million people live, and we have seen Caracas residents reduced to carrying buckets of polluted water, which they took from the Guairo River, which is one of the most contaminated rivers in Venezuela.
An unbelievable turn in this crisis. Juan, what is the Maduro government doing? Because we heard the president saying this is all an electronic coup, trying to blame the United States. What is he doing about the crisis underway?
Well, Maduro's government announced several measures to ensure the provision of vital services, as he said, like water, food, and health care. The Venezuelan government partially opened the border next to Colombia so that students and patients can cross and go to school and get medicine in Colombian territory. President Nicolas Maduro has also said they are working hard to restore power all over the country. However, the government declared public holidays until Thursday. So Mr. Maduro also said that his government has arrested 2 people who, according to him, are implicated in the nationwide outage. And Defense Minister Padrino Lopez says troops have been deployed across the country to guarantee peace and to prevent any looting to continue to happen in Venezuela.
Well, and this is coming right after the Maduro government actually blocked outside aid from getting into the country. What is going to be the likely impact on this situation on the political course of Venezuela?
Well, opposition leader Juan Guaidó, who is recognized by more than 60 countries as interim president of Venezuela, has called on Venezuelans to continue taking to the streets to protest against Mr. Maduro, who Guaidó has said is the only one responsible for Venezuela's dire situation. Juan Guaidó even declared before opposition-controlled Congress a state of alarm, which authorizes the delivery of international aid. According to Guaidó, the decision was taken in response to nationwide power outage that has paralyzed the entire country, and asked once more Venezuelan military forces to allow the aid to enter Venezuela and told Venezuelan militaries to be on the right side of history. But we are yet to see if Venezuelan militaries are going to support Guaidó's decision, because many of them still are loyal to President Nicolas Maduro.
So, Juan, given what you just said, we've heard millions and millions of dollars being pledged, multilateral organizations pledging money and aid to help Venezuelans. Is there any sign that any of that is actually going to be able to get in?
Well, that's the big question. We are yet to see if Venezuela armed forces, which remain loyal to President Nicolas Maduro, will allow that to happen. This won't be the first time the Venezuelan opposition tries to get humanitarian aid into Venezuela. On February, they tried to get humanitarian aid inside the country, but Venezuelan security forces did not allow that to happen. President Maduro has said the opposition is orchestrating a political show, and that is helping the U.S. government to lead a coup against his government. For the opposition, it is not only about getting the aid across, creating a provisional government and calling for free and fair elections. It's also about testing the loyalty of Venezuela's armed forces. But there are many soldiers, as I said, who aren't ready to leave Mr. Maduro without their backing. And the Venezuelan opposition has to face another reality, which is that there is another group of pro-government gangs. They are called the colectivos. They are thousands, and they support Maduro.
All right, Juan Lamas in Caracas.